The old house stood at the end of Harlow Road. It was a desolate, imposing structure. Its windows, like vacant eyes, stared out from a tangled mess of ivy. I had heard stories, whispers from the town's elders. They spoke of the family who had lived and died there. They spoke of strange occurrences, unexplained events. I, ever the skeptic, dismissed them as folklore. But something about the house drew me in, beckoned me closer. The rusted gate creaked open with a groan. Each step towards the house felt heavier than the last.
And so, the journey into the heart of the mystery began, with each step drawing the explorer deeper into the shadows of the past.
The air inside was stale, thick with the smell of decay. Dust motes danced in the faint rays of sunlight that pierced through the boarded-up windows. Cobwebs draped the once grand staircase like macabre decorations. The house felt frozen in time, as if the last century had passed it by. Despite the unsettling atmosphere, I felt strangely drawn to the house. It was as if something was calling to me, beckoning me deeper into its heart. I found myself walking towards the grand staircase, my hand trailing along the dusty banister. A portrait hung on the wall, the eyes of the subject seeming to follow my every move. I paused, staring back at the painting, a strange feeling of unease washing over me. Continuing up the stairs, I found myself on the second floor, facing a long hallway lined with closed doors.
The door creaked open, revealing the unknown that lay within.
The door creaked open, revealing a dusty, dimly lit room. A musty smell permeated the air, causing me to cough. The room was sparsely furnished with a heavy wooden desk and a single chair. Bookshelves lined the walls, their contents hidden in the shadows. As I stepped inside, the door slammed shut behind me with a resounding boom. I whirled around, my heart pounding in my chest. "Hello?" I called out, my voice echoing eerily in the silence that followed. There was no answer, only the sound of my own breathing. I tried the doorknob, but it wouldn't budge. It was as if something had locked it from the outside. Panic began to rise in my throat, choking me.
"Welcome, I've been expecting you."
Fear pulsed through me, cold and sharp. I stumbled back, my eyes wide with terror. "Who are you? What do you want?"
"This house, it has chosen you. You are to be its new guardian."
"Guardian? I don't understand."
"This house, it craves a soul, and it seems it has found yours. There you will find your first task. Complete it, and perhaps, just perhaps, you will see the light of day again."
My gaze fell upon the desk where an old leather-bound diary lay open. Hesitantly, I approached the desk, my hand trembling as I reached for the book. The pages were filled with elegant, spidery handwriting, chronicling the life of a woman who had once lived within these walls.
The explorer's journey into the heart of the mystery had only just begun, with each revelation pulling him deeper into the shadows of the past.
The whispers ceased abruptly, leaving behind a ringing silence. My heart pounded against my ribs, a frantic rhythm against the oppressive stillness. I pushed myself away from the desk, my gaze darting around the room, searching for an escape, a way out of this nightmare. My eyes fell upon the portrait that hung above the fireplace. The woman in the painting, her eyes seemed to follow my every move, her gaze filled with a mix of sadness and urgency. Beneath the portrait, on the mantelpiece, lay a single key, gleaming faintly in the dim light. Hope surged through me, a fragile ember in the darkness. Could this be the key to my escape? But how could I reach it? The fireplace was cold, the hearth swept clean. There was no way to climb up without risking a fall.
The eyes are the window to the soul that read, and sometimes the soul holds the key.
I moved closer to the portrait, my gaze tracing the delicate brushstrokes that brought the woman's face to life. Her eyes, once filled with warmth and life, now seemed vacant, distant. And then I noticed it, a faint glint, a subtle sparkle in the depths of her painted pupils. It was as if a tiny gem, a diamond perhaps, had been embedded in the paint. Could this be what the note was referring to? Reaching out, my fingers trembling slightly, I touched the surface of the painting. As my fingertip brushed against the diamond, a soft click echoed through the room. I turned back to the desk, my heart pounding in my chest. The lock on the diary, once firmly shut, now hung open, a small keyhole revealed beneath it. The grandfather clock, he thought. his gaze darting towards the ornate timepiece that stood against the far wall. Could this be the answer? Could this be the way out of this nightmare? I froze, my heart pounding in my chest, my breath catching in my throat. Slowly I turned towards the source of the growl, my eyes straining to pierce the darkness. A cold mist began to gather in the corner, swirling and coalescing into a shape, a form. It was a dog, its eyes glowing with an eerie green light, its teeth bared in a silent snarl. Its fur was matted and filthy, its skeletal frame visible beneath its mangy coat. The ghostly apparition took a step towards me, its growl growing louder, more menacing. I stumbled back, my hand reaching out to steady myself against the desk. The diary slipped from my grasp, falling to the floor with a thud that seemed to echo through the silent house. The dog, its eyes fixed on me, continued its slow, deliberate advance.
Terror lent him speed. He darted towards the grandfather clock, his hand reaching for the heavy pendulum.
With a surge of adrenaline, I lunged for the desk, the ghostly dog's growl echoing in my ears. I gathered the scattered pages, my eyes scanning the elegant script, searching for any clue, any hint that could help me escape this nightmare. And then, I saw it. A small, almost insignificant doodle in the margin of one of the pages caught my eye. It was a simple drawing, a child's rendition of a dog, its tongue lolling out in a happy grin. Beneath the drawing, in the woman's elegant script, were the words, "My loyal companion, my protector." I knelt beside the dog, my hand outstretched, palm up in a gesture of peace. "I mean you no harm," I said, my voice calm, soothing. "I only wish to help, to honor the memory of your mistress."
As the dog settled at his feet, its form flickering but no longer threatening, he turned his attention back to the grandfather clock. With a click, a section of the wall swung inwards, revealing a narrow, cobweb-draped passageway. The passage was dark, the air thick with the smell of dust and decay. He felt his way along the damp stone walls, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation. The ghostly dog, its form now solid, its eyes glowing faintly in the darkness, padded silently beside him, a loyal guardian even in this subterranean labyrinth. After what felt like an eternity, the passage opened into a small, dimly lit room. In the center of the room sat the old man, his disfigured face illuminated by a single flickering candle. He looked up as the explorer entered. His eyes, though marred by the scars, held a strange sadness, a deep weariness.
"You found your way?" he rasped, his voice raspy, as if unused for years. "Not many do."
I nodded, my gaze fixed on the old man. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice echoing slightly in the small space.
"This house," he began, his voice barely a whisper. "It was once my home, my family's legacy."
"And I am to be its next victim?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper, the reality of my situation settling in with a sickening certainty.
The old man shook his head slowly. "No," he rasped, "not if you succeed where others have failed. The house, it seeks not only to trap souls, but to release them. It seeks redemption, a way to atone for the darkness it has wrought." He gestured towards a small wooden chest, tucked beneath a table in the corner of the room. "Inside that chest," he said, "you will find the key to both our freedoms. But be warned, the task is not for the faint of heart. It will test your courage, your compassion, your very soul."
The explorer looked down at the photo, the weight of the old man's plea settling heavily on his chest. He understood his task, the challenge that lay before him. He had to help this family find peace, to release them from the clutches of this house and, in doing so, free the old man from his own personal purgatory. Taking a deep breath, he closed the chest, tucking the photograph safely inside. He turned back to the old man, a newfound determination hardening his resolve.
"I will help them," I said, my voice firm, unwavering. "I will remind them of the love, the joy, the life they lived. I will help them find peace."
The old man nodded, a glimmer of hope flickering in his weary eyes.
"Follow me," he rasped, leading the explorer to a hidden door behind a dusty tapestry. "This will take you back," he said, his voice raspy but filled with a newfound lightness. "May their memories light your way."
The explorer stepped through the doorway, the old man's words echoing in his ears. The passage that followed was long and winding, but he felt no fear, only a sense of purpose, a mission to fulfill. And as he walked, he spoke of the family in the photo, of their laughter, their love, their life. He spoke of their picnics in the park, their bedtime stories, their holiday gatherings. He spoke of the memories that death had stolen, breathing life back into them, filling the silence with their essence. And then, he saw it. A light, faint at first, but growing brighter with each step he took.